Hey Jess, so here is your spread of all your cards. Alright, so the first card is the King of Wands. You can see this one. Say hi to Kitty. Hi baby! Alright, so this one's really bright. So with this one, this represents you right now. And with this one, I feel kind of like you're unstoppable. Feeling like you're on top of the world, very headstrong. And the Kings is the element of fire, and so is the wand. So with this one, you kind of have like it's intensified because you have both things. So I feel kind of like just full of fire, a lot of passion, radiating energy, and you have a lot of confidence, and you're really, really focused right now. Cat, you gotta move. I'm sorry. All right, and then the card that's over you. This is kind of like, it could be like a challenge or just kind of like the next step that you have to go over. So it's basically like a bridge, either a bridge or a roadblock. This one is the Two of Pentacles. And this one is showing that, of course, like you're juggling something. And the Pentacles are more of earth-based, so more of like physical, tangible things, which makes sense with like you moving, and probably taking care of bills and all that stuff. So a lot of juggling, and balancing. So you're also on one foot. So you're balancing and you're trying to juggle all these things at once. But it kind of shows that you kind of got the hang of things. You kind of got like your own movement down, so you planned everything out. So it's not like you're not going to topple over. These aren't weighing on you, really. It's just, you've got the hang of things, kind of. You created your own kind of like little dance to get everything taken care of. So it's not showing any like stressful issues, really. Just that, there's things that you're taking care of, but showing that you are taking care of it. You got everything under control. So it's not a bad card. I would say that's not really a big challenge. Next card is your distant past. We have a distant past and like a really near past. So with the distant past, is that Two of Swords card, the one that like I always pull. So this one, I know the meaning of it from like the book, but also it's pretty obvious, by looking at it. You have like two geese here, and this person in the middle with two swords. It's kind of like, like a cut and dry kind of dealing with something. So with this one, it's showing kind of like you're feeling stuck, like at like a fork in the road, so you have like two decisions to make. But it's like a cut and dry, kind of like, like cold turkey. You're going to make this decision and just, that's it. So that was your distant past. So that I totally, I feel like that was kind of like the decision you had to make between like staying with Greg and dealing with, the other things that were making you happy and stuff, or leaving. So those, I feel like that is totally what that meant. My cat is totally going to roll around on your cards right now. Sorry, I'm still coughing. The recent past is the Six of Swords. So for this image, I got kind of that I'm going to say this is you, and you're being guided into a new direction, kind of up and over these swords and the crows. So I'm going to say the crows are representing more of like a darker time, and that the geese is picking you up and taking you out of it and moving you onto something new. But you're also still kind of, you can see, you're also still kind of looking down. So I feel like even though you're moving away, you kind of struggled with maybe still looking back at the past issues and just kind of contemplating, not really wanting, to go back or thinking like you made a mistake, but just acknowledging those your recent past. And I feel like this one, the geese could be depicting Ariel, that she's helped you, move up out of the issue you were having with making that decision. So I feel like the geese is Ariel. Sorry, I'm coughing so bad right now. What else? Hold on. Yeah, so that one, so you didn't pull any aces, which aces usually is kind of like, is showing like a new beginning. So you didn't pull any of those, but there are certain cards that kind of representing that for me, especially with this one, like moving up out of this that you're going through, moving up into like newer things. So I totally feel like that would be something like an ace would, what it would mean. And then we have so you have your distant past, recent past, and your immediate future. So this one is a really, really good card. And this one's also a major arcana. So this one's going to be a really big, big important step for you, big thing, and you have the world. The world is also, it is the last card in the major arcana. So, it's depicting an end of a journey, but it's also depicting the beginning. So anytime you come to the end of something, something new is going to start. And you totally feel like, that's exactly what's happening with you. You're going on this new journey. And it's going to definitely be a big journey for you, a big major issue of moving, how many ever miles you are, but moving far away, taking a big step. So with the world, it's showing that you are finally reaching your destination. And now it's kind of showing like you've reached it and you're ready to explore. So kind of like venturing off into the big forest that she's in. You have like the moon, you have little stars floating around. You have kind of like the little ball she's holding. And like showing like you have like the whole world in your hand. So kind of a lot to do with the card that's representing you right now, too, is like, just like that feeling of being unstoppable and having everything in your grasp right now. So, like, you can do anything you put your mind to right now. So, really good feelings. And it's a really beautiful card, too. Very strong image. I have all my notes from when I was writing them down yesterday. Okay. On to the next card. And this one is so you have the immediate future, you have a best outcome card, and you also have like your outcome card after. Like everything else we go through, you have your outcome card. So right now this is considered like the best outcome. And this one is the Four of Cups. And hold on, did I mess up somewhere? No, I didn't. Okay, so Four of Cups. So this one looks like, the mermaid. She's reflecting on herself, looking into the water. And I wrote down that reflecting on who you are and all that has happened before that made you, you. So looking into reflection. A lot to do with reflection here. And using that to build on and keep moving forward. Building a strong foundation with the people around you. Focus on what you've learned already and keep learning. But be careful not to get stagnant, because you don't want to stay too focused on those issues. So with this being like your best outcome, I feel like with everything else, like everything you've gone through, everything you will be going through, everything you'll be learning, whether good or bad, just always reflecting on those things. Any bad circumstance that have happened, reflecting on that, why did it happen? What did you learn from, maybe you met new people during those times? Anything good that happened? What did you learn? How has that helped you in your life? Also with things like learning, like being thankful and stuff, for that too. So just really focusing on kind of those things making you who you are, basically. That's what I feel like that one means. And then moving on to this card, which is the Eight of Wands. And this one's representing the factors that might be affecting the situation. So it doesn't mean that it has to be anything bad. It could be something that's good that's affecting the situation, So this one is definitely more good than anything. So we have the Eight of Wands. And this one, I see a lot of high energy. So you have a lot of those cards where you have like a lot of high energy and passion. A lot of wands, I noticed in your spread. So a lot of high energy, forward motion with her blowing those into the wind. A sense of getting the ball rolling. So, like putting things into motion, getting going, and grasping your opportunities. Sorry. Having power from within. Your eyes are on the prize, like you're really goal-oriented and you're really focused. But also on, not necessarily a downside, but also reaping what you've sown. So anything that might have happened to get you to this point, you're now reaping all those things. You want to, though, be careful with feeling frustrated or dissatisfied, only because this one is showing like a lot of passion and a lot of creativity, and you want to kind of, get the ball rolling. You want to get going on things, put those things in place and start having that, that new journey. But if anything were to kind of get in the way, or anytime you get unmotivated for something, don't let that get to you. Kind of just, realize what's going on and solve the issue and then just keep moving. So a lot of with this one, just, keep moving on. Stay motivated, stay focused, and stay motivated. And with the move, this card, I kind of feel the girl here might be Ariel also, and you're the wishies, and she's kind of blowing the wishies out into the world, like the new world that you're going to experience with living with her. So I see her helping you make the decision, with the Two of Swords. And then also her here helping you as the geese, helping guide you out of that and onto a new journey. And then I see her here in this card too. But I saw definitely she's a helping hand. I see a lot of her helping. So I feel like she's kind of, guiding you and pushing you onto that new venture. This one also is the Two of Cups. And I know it's like showing like a guy and a girl in art. So it doesn't have to always symbolize lovers exactly, like being in love with somebody. But I feel like this is also you and Ariel. And hold on, I'm dying. Okay, so with the Two of Cups, it also symbolizes balance of two opposites. Also a deep connection. And you can see like they're the trees, so they're very rooted deeply. and the creation of two things coming together, something involving another person, but also not to lose sight of yourself. So when you have two things, you could take on the other person, and the other person's everything else about them, could get in the way of you. So not letting the other person take away from you, but also kind of seeing what those two opposites can create. So it's a lot about, taking you and Ariel, you both are have opposite views on certain things. Not everything, but some things, and taking those two things and kind of like fusing them into one and creating like this beautiful thing. So kind of like creating this beautiful tree of what you guys can create together. So I feel like this is kind of like your guys' journey together, taking her and taking you and all the things like you learn and what she might learn from you, because even though she's your teacher, she's obviously going to learn a lot of things from you too. And taking both those and creating something really beautiful. So, next card is, and this was your external influences. So anything like external that's factoring in, which is definitely, of course, the question was about moving to Ariel, and definitely an external factor. Next card is the Nine of Wands, and this one is your hopes, dreams, and fears card. So with having your hopes and fears kind of together, this card works a lot with that, because anything that's like you're hopeful for could also be scary. Like having something like you finally wanted all along, coming to that end of having it, can be scary because it's like, well, I have it, so like what now? So with this card, I wrote down, and it's also a 9. So 9 is about coming to an end of something. So coming to a completion, end is near, but also a worry that the end is coming. So like I said, like having the sense of like, well, what now? What's going to happen now that I'm all done? I feel like this could maybe be symbolizing your, the stuff you're learning with the herbs, with your schooling. Not the schooling with Ariel, but maybe the other one, but also maybe the schooling with Ariel too. So, with that one, kind of like, like you're hoping, to get a lot out of it and learn a lot of new things, and then when you're finally done with all that, you might be kind of scared of what to do next. And it's also, when I look at the image, besides having to do with the number 9, the image itself to me kind of shows, I feel like this is you here. Also a lot of like passion and energy, kind of like being on top of the world. So definitely, you've finally like a winning of something, so coming to the end of something that you wanted and getting what you wanted out of that. And it's also kind of showing maybe just being ready, and being aware of things, having all these other people down here. Kind of like a sense of being ready for battle. So just being aware of your surroundings too with this one. And then we have the final outcome card, which we have the Hermit, which is also a major arcana. So you have a big major thing happening here in your future, a big major thing happening here with the final outcome card. So with the Hermit, it's showing you being up here, up high, away from the world underneath, kind of like in solitude and being alone, but not being alone as like boo-hoo, like you're like single and you don't have anybody to be with you. Not in that sense, but being alone as in being independent and being on your own and standing tall. Showing that you made it through, that you're on your own, and that you are your own light. So you're finding the light within yourself and not looking for help from others anymore. So you can do it on your own, be independent, and know that you are the light. So kind of like you can do anything if you put your mind to it. It's also kind of like, she's looking out into the sky, so kind of like looking and seeking more spiritual enlightenment, maybe. And also overlooking the world and understanding it all. So kind of like a big like move into more of a spiritual connection, and again overlooking everything else. So a lot of overlooking and a lot of reflection on all the things that you've had to like do in your life, learning, dealing with anything, everything that's making you, you, and with the best outcome. And then just for extra, I pulled 2 more cards just to help with more guidance with the Hermit card. The first one out of these 2 was the King of Swords. You have the King of Swords and then also the 4 of Wands. So with the King of Swords, it's kind of tricky to kind of identify what this card might mean. But what I saw was the King, like I said, symbolizes fire, and the sword symbolizes mentality, so like a lot to do with the mind. So it's showing a lot of power over the mind, so having control of your mind, and it's kind of showing like the light and dark. So with a lot of that reflecting on everything, whether negative or positive, is having control over both those things. So don't get like too like swamped in with the negative, don't go down that road and don't let that get to you. But also not being too full of yourself in a bad way. So not letting that make you too cocky and stuff. So having a blend of kind of both things and being able to control both those things. And then also it has the Vitruvian Man down there, and that one is having to do with perfect symmetry and showing that everything makes sense, kind of like a light bulb moment, where you figured everything out. So definitely this one, is going hand in hand with the Hermit about looking for more, like you holding the power and seeking more spiritually, because everything else, you kind of figure out already. And then we have the 4 of Wands. This one's a really good card too. So this one is showing positive movement, the little deer or unicorn little deer thingies. I feel like they look really free, and they're like frolicking through like the land, really happy and joyful and just running wild and being free. Moving in the right direction with like full force, having a lot of freedom, running wherever it pleases you. So kind of going with your own flow and doing what you want, what makes you happy. Not necessarily running with the pack, but just being around, those that make you happy. So definitely a really good happy card. And then I pulled an extra card from my Oracle deck. And this one, I pulled Gratitude. So it says, I am grateful for everyone and everything in my life and the lessons each brings. So this one I feel totally works hand in hand with the 4 of Cups too. So looking back, at everything, reflecting on all that stuff. Same with this one, looking back at everything. And this one having control of, when you look back, looking at the, negative and positive issues and having control over those. But with all that process of everything, learning, everything with the move, everything that you could be going through is, no matter what it all is, when it comes down to everything, just being grateful, showing gratitude, for all the things that you have. So I feel like that's a really nice card too. So that's pretty much the whole reading. A few key things I wanted to point out is that there were a lot of wands in this reading. You had the King of Wands, which represents you, and it's a lot of passion and high energy, really focused and motivated. So we have wands there. We also have the Eight of Wands here. So a lot of factors into the situation, so again, factoring a lot of high energy and passion moving forward. And then with your hopes, dreams, and fears cards, you have wands. So, definitely, being hopeful or having, creating all that stuff and having a lot of passion and being motivated to do all that. And I think you also had another wand. And then this one was a wand too. So that one, definitely you can tell a lot of high energy, a lot of moving forward, having fun, being free, a lot of passion. So, and then you also had a lot of twos. You had Two of Pentacles, Two of Swords, and then also Two of Cups. So twos, in a sense, is showing, like a bringing of two things, two opposites, a duality of things. Also, two is the first stage, when you have one, then you have two things. So you have the first kind of sense of balance going on. So definitely, more is definitely going to come after the twos, of course. But you have like your first sense of balance, your first sense of like stabilizing and stuff. So I feel like this is the move is definitely going to be a good start to a foundation type of issue. And then you also had the two majors that you had with the whole spread were the outcome cards. So definitely, whatever the outcome is to happen, it's definitely going to be a big part in your life. So, and you definitely got two really good cards for that. So this one, of course, is just, coming to the end of it, having everything that you've hoped, everything, that you've reaped, everything you have in this card. So, and being able to enjoy it. And then this one, with the Hermit is showing more of a personal card and more of like the inner self of you, and kind of coming to terms with your inner self and taking everything you've learned and using that and not stopping, definitely looking for more, but seeking more of like a higher potential, with more spirituality and stuff. And then you have like, your best outcome card. So of course, taking in everything that you are learning, everything that you have learned or anything that you've dealt with, just all of that, taking it in, reflecting upon it, and definitely being grateful for all of that stuff. And lastly, the only court cards you had were kings. So with the kings, with being a fire suit and showing a lot of passion. So I'm trying to get to just having a lot of passion. A lot of new projects too. The courage to do them. Yeah. All right, and then you also had a few fours, I think, too. How many fours did you have? You had 2 fours. So just kind of anything that I noticed. Where were your fours? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Oh yeah, so you had 4 of Cups and 4 of Wands. And This was your best outcome card, and this is part of the final outcome too with the Hermit. And 4 is also, so you had like with the 2, you have your first beginning of balance and stability, and 4 is also the second stage of having balance. So kind of like with 3, you have that balance. With 4 is kind of like, the big balance and having stability and stuff. So I don't see like you struggling with feeling content with yourself and feeling stable in life, not stressing and not worrying about kind of you being on your own in a sense, especially with the Hermit, of just a lot of being independent and being stable and being on your own and being able to do those things without looking for help. And I feel like Ariel is definitely, helping you with a decision, moving you into that new direction and watching you prosper and grow, and then you two coming together and working together and creating something with that. I feel like the move is a really good decision, and a very good learning perspective for you. Definitely learning a lot, which of course you will be with the school, but I feel like it's going to do a lot of more inner workings for you and spiritually, and finding yourself and becoming the person, that you always wanted to become. So there is your reading. I know it's really long, and I know you had to deal with me coughing my lungs out, but yeah, there you go.